They didn't look up, because if they did, you wouldn't survive what's behind their eyes. The storm didn't feel natural. Rain lashed violently against the windows of the isolated house on Blackwood Lane, each drop hitting like something alive, something trying to get in. Thunder didn't roll. It cracked, like the sky itself was splitting apart. Inside, Ethan Carter sat on the living room floor, clutching his toy car, trying to ignore the uneasy feeling crawling under his skin. His mother, Laura, stood near the window, watching the storm with growing discomfort. His father, Daniel, sat silently on the couch, staring ahead, unusually still. Then, the power went out. Everything drowned in darkness. For a moment, there was nothing. No light, no sound, except the rain. Laura fumbled in the dark and grabbed an old oil lamp from the shelf. Her hands trembled as she lit it. A weak golden glow pushed back the darkness, but only just enough to make the shadows look deeper, thicker, wrong. "Daniel?" she whispered. No response. He was still sitting there, not moving. Then, knock. 3 slow, heavy knocks on the front door. Laura froze. No one came here. Not at this hour. Not in this storm. Another knock. Closer this time, louder. Ethan looked up, his small voice shaking. "Mom, who is that?" Laura swallowed hard. I don't know." She picked up the lamp and slowly walked toward the door. Each step felt heavier than the last, as if something unseen was pulling her back. Another knock. This time, it sounded impatient. She reached the door. Her hand hovered over the handle. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. But she opened it anyway. The storm roared outside. Standing there were 2 children, a boy and a girl, both small, both soaked from the rain, and both looking down. Their heads hung unnaturally low, faces completely hidden by wet strands of hair. Laura forced a smile, though her chest tightened. "Are you okay? What are you doing out here?" Silence. Then the boy spoke. His voice was flat, emotionless. "Our mother is nearby. She want to get help." The girl slowly nodded, still not looking up. "Can we come inside?" Laura hesitated. Something about them felt wrong. Not dangerous, just empty. "Where is your mother exactly?" Laura asked. The boy tilted his head slightly, but still didn't lift it. "She'll be here soon." The girl whispered, almost like an echo. "She's coming." A gust of cold wind pushed past them into the house. The lamp flickered violently. Ethan shivered from inside. Laura looked at the storm, then back at the children. Her instincts screamed at her to shut the door, but she didn't. "Okay, come in." The moment they stepped inside, the air changed. The warmth vanished. A suffocating cold spread through the house, like something alive. The children walked slowly to the couch and sat down beside Daniel. He didn't react, didn't even look at them, just sat there, staring forward. Laura noticed it. "Daniel?" she said. No answer. The children sat perfectly still, dripping water onto the floor, their heads still down, not moving, not breathing, not blinking. Ethan backed away slightly, his voice barely audible. "Mom, I don't like them." Laura forced calm into her voice. "It's okay, they're just kids." But even she didn't believe it. Trying to distract herself, she said, "I'll bring you something to eat." The boy spoke again, without lifting his head. "We're not hungry." The girl whispered, "We'll wait." Laura ignored the chill crawling up her spine and turned toward the kitchen. The moment she stepped inside, she felt it. Something was already there, watching her, waiting, and behind her, in the living room. The children slowly, very slowly, tilted their heads upward. The kitchen felt wrong. Not dark, not silent, but aware. Laura stepped inside, holding the flickering lamp out in front of her. The light barely reached the corners. Shadows clung to the walls like they didn't want to be seen. She stopped. Something was breathing. Not loudly, not clearly, but close. Too close. Laura turned sharply. Nothing. Just the old cabinets. The sink. The window rattling violently from the storm outside. She forced herself to move. "It's nothing," she whispered. "Just your imagination." But the moment she reached the counter, drip, she froze. That sound wasn't rain. It was thicker, slower. She looked down. A dark liquid was sliding off the edge of the counter, forming a thin line, dripping onto the floor. Her breath caught in her throat. "No." She raised the lamp. The counter was clean, completely dry. No liquid, no stain, nothing. But the floor. The floor had a single drop. Dark, almost black. Before she could react, a sharp metallic scrape echoed behind her. Laura spun around. A kitchen drawer had slowly opened on its own. Inside, knives, dozens of them, all slightly shifting, like something invisible had just touched them. Laura stepped back, heart pounding violently. This isn't real. But deep down, she knew it was. Meanwhile, in the living room, Ethan couldn't breathe properly. The air felt heavy, like something was sitting on his chest. The two children hadn't moved, not even an inch. Still sitting beside Daniel. Still dripping. Still silent. Ethan glanced at his father. Dad? Nothing. Daniel's eyes were open, but empty, like he wasn't there anymore. Ethan's voice trembled. Dad, please. The boy on the couch suddenly spoke. She can't hear you. Ethan froze. His blood ran cold. The girl followed. But he can't. Ethan slowly turned toward them. They hadn't lifted their heads. But now, their shoulders were slightly twitching, like something inside them was trying to get out. Ethan stood up slowly. I'm going to my room. No response. As he walked away, the boy whispered, You shouldn't be alone. The girl echoed, Not tonight. Ethan ignored them. Or at least, he tried to. Back in the kitchen, Laura was shaking. She grabbed a plate with trembling hands, trying to act normal, trying to pretend none of this was happening. But then, she saw it. Her reflection in the kitchen window. At first, it looked normal. Then, it blinked. Laura didn't. Her reflection smiled. A slow, unnatural smile. Her breath hitched. No. She stumbled back, and the lamp flickered wildly. For a split second, the entire kitchen went dark. And in that darkness, something moved. Fast. Right behind her. Laura screamed and spun around. But the light came back. Nothing there. Just the empty kitchen. Except, the drawer of knives was now fully open. And one knife was missing. Upstairs, Ethan slammed his bedroom door shut and leaned against it, breathing heavily. Something followed him. He knew it. He could feel it. The silence in his room was worse than the storm. Because it wasn't empty. It was waiting. Ethan slowly turned. His closet door creaked open. Just slightly. Then stopped. A voice came from inside. Soft. Wet. Breathing. Ethan. He screamed. Ran to his bed. Pulled the blanket over his head. But the voice came closer. From under the bed now. Ethan, she's coming. Tears streamed down his face. Stop. Please stop. Then, silence. Complete silence. Ethan slowly lowered the blanket. Everything was still. Too still. He took a shaky breath and looked toward the door. It was open. He was sure he locked it. And standing there were the two children. This time, their heads were slightly raised. Just enough to show a glimpse of their faces. Their eyes, completely black, endless. Watching him, the boy whispered, She's almost here. The girl smiled, wider than humanly possible. Mother doesn't like waiting. The house was no longer a house. It was something else, something breathing. Laura stepped out of the kitchen slowly, her hands trembling as she carried the plate. The lamp flickered violently with each step, like it didn't want to stay lit. Behind her, something followed. Not footsteps, not movement, just a presence dragging itself through the walls. Watching, waiting. The living room felt colder than before. Unnaturally cold. The two children were still sitting on the couch beside Daniel. But now, their heads were slightly raised. Not fully, just enough. Enough to feel wrong. Laura forced a weak smile. I brought you something to eat. She placed the plate on the table. The moment she set it down, the smell hit her. Rotten. Metallic. Like blood left too long in the open. Her stomach twisted. She slowly looked down at the plate, and her world shattered. It wasn't food. It was eyes. Dozens of them. Human eyes. Wet. Blinking. Some of them moving. Staring at her. A thin layer of dark red blood pooled beneath them, slowly dripping off the plate onto the floor. Laura stumbled back, choking on her own breath. I didn't. The boy interrupted. We didn't ask for food. The girl whispered. She already gave it. Laura's heart stopped. Who? The children spoke together this time. She did. Suddenly, a horrifying scream tore through the house. High-pitched. Agonizing. Animal. Their cat. Laura spun around. Whiskers. Another scream. Then silence. Dead silence. Laura ran toward the hallway, panic consuming her. But before she could reach it, the boy spoke again. You shouldn't go. Laura ignored him. She ran. The hallway stretched longer than it should have. The walls seemed to pulse slightly, like veins under skin. Whiskers, she cried. No response. Then, she saw it. On the floor. Her body froze. The cat lay twisted unnaturally, its body torn open. Blood covered the floor. Too much blood. Far too much. As if something had ripped it apart, slowly. Deliberately. Laura screamed. Her voice echoed, but felt swallowed. Like the house itself was eating the sound, behind her. A soft voice. She didn't like the noise. Laura turned slowly. The children were standing at the end of the hallway. They hadn't walked there. They were just there. Closer now. Their heads raised higher. Their faces. Not human. Skin stretched too tight. Eyes black and deep like holes. Smiles too wide. Too deep. Too wrong. In the living room, Daniel finally moved. Slowly. His head tilted. His lips parted. And in a voice that wasn't his. She's here. Ding dong. The doorbell rang. Clear. Sharp. Cutting through everything. The children's smiles widened impossibly. Our mother came. They turned. And ran toward the door. Fast. Too fast. Not like children. More like shadows snapping across the floor. Laura stood frozen. Her mind screamed at her not to follow. But her body moved anyway. The moment the children reached the door, the power came back. Lights flickered on. Bright. Blinding. Everything felt normal. For 1 second. Just one. And then, Laura saw the floor. Blood. Everywhere. Covering the living room. The couch. The walls. The plate. Still full of eyes. Some of them now staring directly at her. The front door was open. The children. Gone. No footprints. No sound. No trace. Daniel stood in the middle of the room now. Smiling. Slowly turning toward Laura. She's inside. Laura's breath stopped. She's what? Daniel didn't answer. He just kept smiling. Wider. And wider. Until it stretched too far. A crack formed at the corner of his lips. Then another. His skin. Tearing. Slowly. As if something inside him was trying to come out. Laura screamed and backed away. Daniel. Stop. But it wasn't Daniel anymore. His body jerked violently. Then went still. Completely still. And in a voice that layered over his. Multiple voices at once. She's already here. The lights flickered again. Then, darkness. Total darkness. Laura dropped the lamp. It shattered. Now, nothing. No light. No sound. Just breathing. Not hers. Something else's. Right behind her. A whisper. Right in her ear. Why did you let them in? Laura couldn't move. Tears streamed down her face. I didn't know. A cold hand touched her shoulder. Not human. Too long. Too thin. Too many fingers. You invited us. Upstairs. Ethan was still in his room. Crying. Shaking. The 2 children were gone. But something worse was there now. Standing in the corner. Tall. Too tall. Its head bent unnaturally to fit the ceiling. Its body thin, stretched, wrong. And where its face should be. Nothing. Just skin. Smooth. Blank. It spoke. Without a mouth. Children shouldn't hide. Ethan screamed. But no sound came out. His voice. Gone. The thing moved closer. Not walking. Sliding. Like it didn't need the floor. You heard her, didn't you? Ethan shook his head violently. Tears pouring down. I don't want to. Its head tilted. She chose you. Downstairs. Laura ran. She didn't know where. Didn't know why. Just away. Away from the voice. Away from Daniel. Away from everything. But the house wouldn't let her. Doors led to the same room. Hallways looped. Windows showed nothing but darkness. No storm. No outside. Just black. Then, she heard Ethan. A faint sound. A thud. From upstairs. Ethan. She ran toward the stairs. This time, they didn't change. She climbed them, heart pounding. Faster. Faster. She reached his room and slammed the door open. Ethan lay on the floor. Unconscious. His body cold. Too cold. Ethan. Wake up. She shook him. Nothing. No response. Behind her. A voice. Soft. Satisfied. He'll keep. Laura turned slowly. The faceless thing stood in the doorway. Now closer. Much closer. It tilted its head. You can leave. Laura stared at it, trembling. What? Its voice deepened. But he stays. Laura screamed. No. She grabbed Ethan and pulled him close. I'm not leaving him. The thing didn't move. Didn't react. It just said, then you both stay. The lights flickered back on. Suddenly. Violently. The thing. Gone. Daniel. Collapsed on the floor. The house. Silent. But the blood. Still there. Everywhere. And this time, it didn't disappear. Morning came. But it didn't feel like morning. There was light, but no warmth. The house looked normal again. Too normal. Too clean. The blood, gone. The cat, gone. The broken lamp, gone. As if nothing had ever happened. Laura sat on the couch, holding Ethan tightly in her arms. He was awake now, but silent. Not speaking, not reacting, just staring. At nothing. Or maybe, at something she couldn't see. Daniel stood near the window. Quiet. Still. Different. Very different. Daniel, Laura whispered. He didn't respond. Slowly, he turned his head. His eyes met hers. And for a moment, she felt relief. Until he smiled. That same smile. Too wide. Too empty. Too wrong. Days passed. But the house never felt right again. At night, footsteps echoed in empty halls. Soft whispers crawled through the walls. Doors opened on their own. And sometimes, at exactly 3:03 a.m., there would be a knock. 3 slow knocks. Always the same. Laura never opened the door again. But every time, a voice followed. From the other side. Soft. Patient. We're still here. Ethan stopped sleeping. Whenever he closed his eyes, he saw them. The children. Standing at the foot of his bed. Watching. Waiting. If this story gave you chills, don't ignore it. Subscribe for more terrifying horror stories like this. And tell me in the comments, would you have opened the door or left them outside?